And I'll show you all the automations that we have done over the period of time and how it improves the productivity of the team itself. Second step we did was to allow people or allow developers to experiment as they go along. So this left side is what you have been doing usually. Like there's a schema that you work against and you develop against, and the rest of the team uses the same thing. Like all the people use just one schema in your database. Now that becomes a big contention point, like where you will make, let's say you have a view that multiple people use, and the new story that you get, people want to write a new view or make some changes to that view. And while writing that view, they make a mistake. Right? Now the rest of the team gets affected because of that, since all of them are using the same schema. Right? So what happens in this phase is you making a change has basically introduced like the rest of the team to that bug. And when that happens, you tend to be less experimental. You don't experiment as much. You are afraid of making mistakes. You are afraid of introducing change, and that reduces your innovation. That reduces your productivity. Right? So the key thing is make it easy for people to fail. That seems stupid in some ways, but anywhere you see where innovation happens, it's very easy to do innovation when you are forgiven for failure. When you are set it so that if I fail, nobody blames me. Right? So you can see on the right side, if Andy and Joe, when they're working on a design or a story card, and if they produce a view that's bad, it's only they that get affected. Now they're not afraid of failing. So that will make them much easier to design things in a better place. They can try out, like, okay, let me try this view, let me try this different approach, let me try this different approach. They can try multiple things and come up with a better design. And it supports more innovation, more kind of like trying out-of-the-box ideas so that it's easier for people to fail. That's key. Like if in the current environment you are punished for failure, you are not going to innovate. Right? So if you make it easier for people to fail, you will innovate better and you will come up with a better design in the process. So that's the key idea that I think we are trying to support by allowing everybody a sandbox of their own. A lot of people say that, okay, I want to be like, that's like too much overhead for me to give like everyone a schema of their own. Like how can I support and where do people like how do I create a database and that kind of stuff. Obviously, you can do a lot of automation, and I'll show you a bunch of demos that will show how automation can be done easily so that people can do these things on their own and not kind of bog it down with more work, like bog down DBA with more work and introduce a new point of contention and stuff. Right? So we'll show how using like AND or make or rake or whatever you have as your build script tool to automate the tasks. Right? And one other thing this kind of approach does, it forces you to think about deployment. Right? So when you are going to deploy, you will need to know what goes in your database. And this kind of approach forces you to think about what is going to be part of my deployment, like what tables, what views, what sequences, what triggers, or any of those things. It will force you to think in those terms. One other thing it does is you can actually let the developers work independently. Like this is what the ultimate Nirvana goal is. Like your laptop or the desktop has your database. You can create or you can basically set up and destroy your database whenever you want to with like an AND or rake target, and basically be able to work very well. Like when I'm traveling, I'm on a plane, I want to work on the project, my database is right on my laptop and I can open it up, start it up, use the targets that I want to create and work on a plane or work on a train or work in the bus or whatever. Right? So that gives you more leeway to try out things. Like on the way back home, if you're sitting on a train and you think of a good idea, okay, maybe I can do this. and you can just fire up your laptop and the database is right there. You can try out the idea you have, and when you go back to work next day, you can show that, okay, I tried this is how it works, what do you think? Right? So that's a much better environment to work in where you can utilize the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to show you a demo of a person joining a CorpWorks team, and he basically set up and see how fast he gets set up with all the like basically the way we set up the database for a demo. So let's say a person like you or someone like that joins my team. So let's say a person like So let's say a person like you or someone like that is joining my team, and he's going to basically check out code from Subversion or whatever repository you're using, and let's say once he is done checking out, I will show you how much easier it is for a person to get set up on a project using this kind of methodology. So he basically checks out code from Subversion. We have a build properties file. I'm using Ant here, so I have a build properties file that I'm going to change to basically meet my needs or meet use needs or whatever you want to call it. So basically change the build properties file and say, okay, my username is you, my password